to my channel, A Moment with Amisha, where I help you to walk in faith, grow in wisdom, and live for Jesus. Thank you guys for stopping by again. If you are a newbie here on A Moment with Amisha, I would encourage you to go ahead and take this time and subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell notification while you're at it so you do not miss another video from your girl. All right, so guys, in this video, guys, I want to talk about being careful about who you tell your dreams, your goals, you know, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, because you know, everybody doesn't have the vision, the plan that God has specifically given to you. So be careful about who you tell what to what. And I want to give you an example of what I mean. Follow me, if you will. You know I love to bring y'all Bible now. So follow me to Genesis chapter 37 verses 5 through 8. We're going to talk about Joseph here, Joseph's dream, and what God told Joseph. Joseph had a dream. I'm starting at verse 5. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." Verse 8. His brothers said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Verse 9. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. "Listen," he said, "I had another dream. And this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." Verse 10. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, and his father kept the matter in mind. Wow. And we all know what happened to Joseph. The family, his brothers sold him off, and you know, all the things happened, but you know, of course he was redeemed after time. But that is what happened to Joseph when he told, and he shared his dream with his family. Now, I'm not Joseph, and I don't know what the Lord specifically told him in regards to sharing his dream. Obviously, we see, you know, what happened because as a result of him sharing his vision that God gave him, you know, his father rebuked him, his brothers hated him. Like, they were like, "What? Like, who are you for us to bow down to you?" So I don't know if God told him to share this or to not share this, and Joseph decided to share it anyway. We don't know that. The Bible doesn't explicitly say whether or not God told him to share that, but he did it anyway. So but we can learn from this story. I do feel like the Lord wants us to learn from this story, is to be careful about how much we share, even with our closest loved ones, even with your spouse, you know. I'm not saying to be sneaky and hide things. I'm just saying use discernment when it comes to sharing stuff about you know, dreams and visions that God has specifically given to you. Another thing is that, you know, I'm sure Joseph's family didn't really understand this. They didn't get what this meant. I mean, at the end, we see what happened, and it was a great outcome at the very end. But in that moment, you know, his parents, his brothers, his family didn't understand. They didn't understand what this was that Joseph was describing in his dream. They didn't get it. It didn't make sense to them. And sometimes your dreams, sometimes the vision that God gives you doesn't make sense to everybody else. And you know, you share it, and then you know, you get the opinions, the unsolicited advice about why you doing this or why you doing that, or you're not good enough for that, or you're not good enough for this. So that's another reason to also be careful about what you share, because sometimes, you know, you already know what God told you, and you want to be obedient to and obey and follow what you've been given, but you have all these other people in your ears who may mean well, but the enemy is using them to confuse you, to try and distract you. So it's best that we be wise before we share our dreams and visions with people. Be wise with it. I'm not saying you can't share anything, but be wise with who you share your visions and dreams with, because there are people who don't want to see you prosper. You know, not everybody is out there to get you. You know, there's all that talk about, you know, haters and this and that and the other. I know everybody's not a hater, I get that, but there are some people who are out there to destroy you, and they don't want to see you prosper. They don't want to see you do well. But there are, on the other hand, there are people, that's why I said to use discernment. There are people out there, you know, who want to pray for you, who want to stand in agreement with this vision or dream that the Lord has given you. But like I said, everybody's not like that. So be wise in who you share these things with. I was talking to my husband recently when I was kind of going over what I wanted to say in this video, and he was like, you know what, I remember, because my husband didn't go to college right away after high school, so it was maybe just a few years that passed, and he then decided to, you know, he was working, and then he decided to go and pursue college. And when he left this particular job, it was like a government type job. When he left this job to go and pursue college, his college degree, he had a coworker, or no, hold on, I don't think it was a coworker. It was someone he knew, and he told them what he was doing, what his plan was to go to college and, you know, major in whatever, and, you know, just make a better life for himself. And that person was telling him, like, no, why are you going to give up this government job? You know, people go to college just to get a job like what you have. Like, why are you giving that up? Why are you doing this? Why, like, all the whys, like, you know. And if he really wasn't smarter, if he really wasn't focused enough on what he knew, on his plan, and what was placed in his heart to pursue this degree, he could have just like, well, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go get this degree. And, you know, and so, but he was wise enough to know this was something that he wanted to do, he felt led to do, and so he did it. But just the fact that there are people out there, I'm sure he didn't know that person was going to have such a negative, you know, take on what he was doing, on his plans. But, you know, you have to be careful about who you share, because it could have been he could have went a whole nother route, and, you know, who knows what would have happened. But be careful about the things that you share, because everybody doesn't see what you see. Everybody doesn't know what God has told you specifically, and so they're going to just speak from what they can see, right? And that's not always a great thing, because our minds are finite. Like we're limited in what we can fathom. God can go far beyond and above all that. You know, he can go above and beyond. So we have to be careful about what we share to others. That if you don't get nothing else from this video, use discernment when sharing your dreams and goals. I know some people may think, oh, she never tells us this, or she never tells us that. You know, even like with some of I have friends that choose not to share a whole lot about their love life, you know, who they're dating or whatever. Perfectly fine. I'm fine with that. We're close as ever. But if you choose to not tell me, that's your business. Or if you're pursuing something or working on something, you choose not to share that with me, that's your business, right? And I'm fine with that. And like I said, I'm sure there are family members of mine who are like, gosh, Amisha doesn't share a whole lot about what she's doing here or there. And I'm like, you know what? I need to make sure I'm hearing correctly from the Lord. And then once I am, you know, grounded in what I'm doing and working in what it is, this plan that I've heard God lead me to, then I will share, you know. And another thing is, you know, sometimes if you always sharing what you're doing with people, they you know, you got those check up on you type people, like, okay, so I remember back when such you said you was doing this, and then you said you was gonna do this, so, and you know what I mean. And then you have to use your energy to explain to people, especially if something didn't work out. You have to explain to them why this didn't do this or why this didn't do that. So save yourself all the energy and just choose wisely with what you share. If you don't have it figured out, just say, you know what, God is still working on me in that. I'm not sure just yet. You know, I still have a lot. I'm in a progress. I'm a work in progress, right? Just share that. If you just, you know, if you don't want to give any details, don't let anyone make you feel pressured to even explain what you're doing. Let that be, you know, your news to tell when you're ready, right? All right, you guys, that's all I have for you. I just want you to be encouraged to keep some of your dreams and things to yourself until it's time, until God releases you to tell it, right? And don't be discouraged if you've already, you know, spoke too soon or said something to someone, and now you're hearing all these other voices, you know, telling you this and that and the other. it's okay. Just stay focused. Remember what the Lord has told you. His voice trumps everybody's, right? So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for spending a moment with Amisha, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.